November 3rd, 1968. It's 11:47 p.m. East 116th Street, Harlem. Frank Lucas steps out of a black Cadillac. A leather briefcase is handcuffed to his wrist. Inside that briefcase is $4 million, all cash. Across the street, 3 Italian men sit inside a parked Lincoln Continental. They are watching, waiting, counting time. One of them checks his watch. Frank is 12 minutes late. In their world, being late can get you killed. Frank doesn't rush. He lights a cigarette, takes a slow drag, then walks inside. What happens tonight will quietly break an unspoken rule of the American underworld. And somehow, no one from the Italian Mafia will ever openly respond. The question is simple: why? Before we continue, if you enjoy deep cinematic true stories like this, like the video and subscribe to Frank Lucas Unfiltered. It helps the channel grow and brings you more stories told this way. Now, let's go back. 3 weeks earlier, at this point, Frank Lucas is at the height of his power in New York. He controls a heroin pipeline running directly from Southeast Asia into the United States. No middlemen, no Italian Mafia control. His product is cheaper, cleaner, stronger. The Italians know this. They tolerate it because Frank follows one rule. He pays when required, and he never embarrasses them in public. In organized crime, respect matters more than money, but pressure is building. The DEA is tightening surveillance. Rival dealers are getting reckless. Then a message arrives. A powerful Italian crew wants a favor. Not a tax, not a percentage, a one-time request, $4 million, quietly delivered, no questions asked. The money will solve a problem Frank is not supposed to know about. The message is clear without being spoken. Help us now, and we continue to look the other way. Frank agrees. On the surface, it looks like survival, but privately, Frank is calculating. He understands leverage. He knows exactly what $4 million buys. And more importantly, he knows something the Italians underestimate. He is not emotionally attached to their rules. Now we return to that night, November 3rd, 11:47 p.m. The meeting location is clean. No visible weapons. No raised voices. Frank brings the money himself. That alone is unusual and meaningful. Inside the building, the air smells like old cigars and polished wood. Frank opens the briefcase. Stacks of $100 bills, neatly banded, real. One Italian man counts slowly. Another watches Frank's face. Everything checks out. Then Frank speaks, calmly, almost casually. He says, "This is not a favor. This is a loan. No paperwork, no witnesses, but with an understanding from now on, certain neighborhoods belong to him. Certain shipments move untouched. Certain names are never spoken in closed rooms. No one interrupts him. No one raises their voice. They simply listen. Here's the danger. In mafia culture, you never change terms after the money is on the table. That is betrayal. But Frank's timing is perfect. The cash is already counted. Walking away now would expose weakness. One of the Italians finally speaks. Quietly, he asks one question. What happens if they say no? Frank closes the briefcase. Slowly, deliberately, he reminds them that $4 million in 1968 is more than money. It buys silence, it buys time, it buys flexibility. If they refuse, the briefcase leaves with him, and the streets will notice. Prices drop, loyalty shifts. Attention follows, not from Frank, from everyone else. This is Frank's real threat, not violence, instability. And instability is what the mafia fears most. They agree. No handshake, no celebration, just understanding. Frank walks out alive. That is the real victory. Over the next few months, something strange happens. Italian crews quietly pull back from certain neighborhoods. Police pressure increases, but not evenly. Frank's operation keeps moving. Smooth, preciso. People notice, but no one talks. On the street, rumors spread. They say Frank played the Italians, but rumors attract attention, and attention is dangerous. Behind closed doors, the mafia debates retaliation, tradition de ma réponse. But there are problems. Frank didn't break a written rule. He didn't cheat anyone. He didn't expose anyone. He used money and timing better than expected. Killing him would create chaos. Chaos brings law enforcement. And law enforcement disrupts supply. Supply that still benefits them. There's another factor. Frank isn't Italian, but he is respected. No flashy clubs, no loose crews, no public insults. Retaliation wouldn't look like justice. It would look like insecurity. Years later, federal investigators quietly confirm something unusual. During this period, several major Italian figures actively avoid crossing Frank Lucas. Not out of fear, out of calculation. Silence is cheaper than war. Frank eventually falls, not to the mafia, but to law enforcement and internal cracks. That's how empires usually end. Slowly, from the inside. But that night, with a $4 million, remains a turning point. A moment where money replaced muscle, where strategy replaced tradition. To this day, no official mafia retaliation for that night has ever been recorded. No sanctioned hit, no public warning, only silence. And that silence tells you everything. If you made it to the end, share the story with someone who appreciates how real power works. Leave a comment. Was Frank's move genius or reckless? And subscribe to Frank Lucas Unfiltered for more untold stories, where the real drama happens behind closed doors.